I mean, if you're gonna pick your poison, it's kind of a lot of it, and a lot of it is.
I get why they're doing a more simple thing because it's all about trying to save as much time and money as possible. When everything looks the same.
Or you're overstimulating my eyes. I don't like that.
That too. If you go too much on all the After Effects stuff.
Or just the color. I'm just like, that's assaulting. That's an assault.
My eyes are actively hurting right now. I need to stop.
Yeah, so I don't. It just Ghost Stories was one of the ones because again, it was a great pot of a whole bunch of different amazing actors. In it, and so
I'm not sure if a couple of them are still acting. I'm not sure, like Christine Outen is still acting or not. I don't remember.
I don't know, which is really sad because it's like, I mean, I want new voice actors to thrive, be good.
Yes, absolutely.
But I want you to thrive at the same time. It's like, I want my oldies and goodies.
Yes, and as you're watching all your oldies and goodies gradually retire, and you're like,
yeah, I'm just like,
I just watched my childhood die a little bit.
Thank you. So it's like, it's kind of sad. Like, I want the newer actors to come up and do well. It's kind of the same thing with acting in general, with actors in general, which that'll be a segment all on its own.
Absolutely, we'll have to.
For me, personally, I'm more into BLs at the moment. So I lean more towards, like, the actors in that sense. Like, I have my go-tos peoples. And then I'm like, I'm wanting to give these new people a chance, but I'm like, I have my go-tos because y'all are just seasoned to perfection.
Yeah,
and the same thing with voice actors.
You know what you're doing with
and it doesn't look awkward. And the same thing with voice actors is like, you're just seasoned to perfection, and I want to see more of you or hear more of you rather. But at the same time, you want to support the newer people that's coming up if you're good.
Well, if we can just take a moment to go back and detour real quick to when I was talking about Digimon Adventure 2020. Those new voice actors. You can tell that the voice directors knew what they were doing because they picked people that specifically sounded as close to the original cast as possible for the vast majority of these people. A few exceptions here and there. But as far as the collective cast goes for the new series, I think it's phenomenal. They really made sure that they took care to pick people who sounded similar enough for it to be believable, and some of them are so spot on, you think it's the original voice actor, even if it's not, and you're just like, so you get okay, Zeno Robinson, you go.
So you get hit with a little bit of nostalgia.
Absolutely, you do.
So yeah, but that's just a few. Do you have any? I know you have, but like your top that you can just
tops immediately. Tops. All right, these two people then are going to immediately they fit in the same spot for the reason that I just love the sound of their voices. My God. Colleen Klingenbeard and Caitlin Glass, they're so pretty and they have such pretty voices and I love them.
They're not whiny?
No. Colleen Klingenbeard is Urza Scarlet.
Who?
In Fairy Tail, Urza Scarlet. Colleen Klingenbeard is Urza Scarlet. And Caitlin Glass is, well, let's see, she, since we're on Fairy Tail for a brief second, she voiced,
It's been a long time, disclaimer, I have not seen Fairy Tail since college. And I stopped watching it, so the character names and stuff like that is just not coming to me.
Evergreen. Evergreen was her name.
Evergreen?
Yeah. Okay. She voiced Evergreen in that series. Not one of her absolute best characters, but I mean, she did the best she could with a character that really, well, it wasn't in her wheelhouse, I think, that particular character, but I still love her voice.
So it kind of made up for it.
Yeah. Like, one of my favorite roles for her that she did, Caitlin Glass, was in the Danganronpa anime where she voiced Kyoko Kirigiri, which you won't know that one.
Was that psycho blonde chick?
No. You're thinking of Junko Enoshima, who was voiced by Jenny Marchi, which Jenny Marchi is a phenomenal voice. I adore her voice work. No, Caitlin Glass. The thing about Caitlin's voice work is, even if the character is not all that smart, she makes the character sound smart. She's got one of those voices that makes characters sound very smart. And she's got a soothing voice. It's very easy to listen to, and I love that. And it's warm. It's a warm voice.
Okay.
And I do love a good warm voice. Like we were talking about earlier, we love deep voices, we love rough, raspy voices,
from females.
And we love warm voices.
Yeah, the voice is like, now, again, it's one of those, it's like, I don't know a lot of Japanese actors' names. I can recognize their voices, but I could not tell you their names.
Nope.
But there's this one, like the anime with Storia right now.
Yeah.
The character, she's a watcher, and she goes from this really high pitched voice, like
Oh,
really
that one?
innocent voice,
That one?
and then it drops to like this really deep,
That
serious
really
voice.
deep, serious
so
voice.
you can see like
The
the range, and the personality change in there because that switch up is like that.
Mhm.
She's like, oh yeah. And he's like, oh.
When the seriousness gets serious.
Yeah, like he's like immediate
I
change.
love it when someone can do that, and that's wonderful in American English voice acting as well. It's like when you can do that kind of range.
Like,
I will fall in love with you immediately, right then and there, because you can do that. And it's like,
because she's like, oh, like immediately your guard is down. Like your guard is down with that character, and you can see it because even as I was watching it, I was like, oh, okay, and then she switched
like
up on
Laura
my
Bailey, like Laura Bailey, for example.
yeah, like it's just I don't know something about being able to do that because again your guard is kind of dropped because he's like this
Absolutely.
innocent, quote unquote innocent character, and then immediately when that switch up happened, first it happened with her eyes, and you knew something was up, and
When
then
her eyes got more slitted and more.
yeah, like more
like,
sinister
focused.
looking, yeah, like more. It wasn't so like, oh, I'm just. First of all, why are you in this dungeon if you're this innocent and just helpless? And then it changed to like that really serious, slitting look, more focused, like you said, and
Cat's eye looking thing.
yeah, and then her voice changed, and then I immediately went. Like my guard immediately jumped up, like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
is she a bad person?" And she's not.
And it's a trope.
Spoiler alert.
It's a trope that's been done, and it's almost always done really well, though.
Yeah,
It's really hard to fuck that one up.
yeah, and it just depends on who you're rooting for. If it's
True.
the villain that's doing it, or if it's the good person, quote unquote, good person that's doing it. Because if it's the villain that's doing it, I'm immediately annoyed because as the viewer, we know what's happening, and then the character, the lead character, whatever, has no idea. So I'm immediately annoyed. Honestly, if it's the villain side of it, unless we're rooting for the villain, because with anime, that's the beauty of anime is like one show you could be rooting for the villain. The next show you're rooting for the hero. This show you're rooting for the underdog, and this show you're just like beat him down to submission. So it's like it switches up so well. Like my person, like it's fun. Anime is just fun. It really
It's so
is.
much fun.
Like
It's a good time.
You become a hypocrite. Don't anybody out there that says otherwise, you're lying. Because if I'm right here on this anime and I'm talking about fighting this monster, and then that next anime I'm watching, we are on the monster side to kill all humans.
It depends entirely on the episode. Sometimes, like, how much more entertaining is this character to this character?
It depends on the anime in general.
It does.
Because we're seeing it from the, and again, it goes back to the voice actor. Do you make me love this character or hate it? Even if you are the good guy or the bad guy. If your voice doesn't, and it goes back with typecasting in a sense. If your voice does not fit that character, it just doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
And I immediately don't like that character, regardless if you're the good guy or not. And I will probably stop watching the anime.
Well, like with Caitlin Glass, like she doesn't necessarily utilize a whole lot of range. You don't really hear her do much more than just her standard voice. But there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if you've got a standard voice that is instantly recognizable, then go for it. That is your thing. You do it, and you do it well. So hey, you go. Like Colleen, she's kind of the same way. She doesn't venture out too often, although she is the English voice actor for Luffy for One Piece. And that threw me for a loop for the longest time. So I'm like, one, I didn't know you had this range, and two,
I love the dubbed voice actor for Luffy.
Unless
they changed it.
no.
Has she always been?
She has been since
Okay.
since Funimation took over on the dubbing, but I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of her voice work for Luffy. It's just a little, I don't know, it throws me off, but at the same time, it's spot on, which is crazy. I think
Since Funimation. Who was doing it before Funimation?
4Kids did a really poor dub at one point, but they went in and they edited so much because it was such a violent show that should not have even been part of their roster to begin with, that it wound up being the loathed dub. The voice acting was solid, just...
I'll have to double check because the voice that I'm having in my head, I liked the dubbed version. Now, granted, I'm so far into One Piece that I don't have time to wait for the dub to catch up. So I've been watching subbed.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what the voices sound like now.
Yeah.
But I'll have to go back. But I remember liking the dubbed version, like the voice actor for it. So I would have to go back and look at it because I'm too far ahead in One Piece to be trying to backtrack to catch up.
I'm somewhere about 1,000 episodes in, so I'm up there. I haven't checked it out in a little bit because for me, One Piece is one of those shows where you watch a little bit of it at a time and then you take a break. and then you watch a little bit of it at a time, and then you take a break. Because if you're just watching that, that's going to consume your entire existence for the remainder of your life.
Your brain becomes jello.
It does.
But we can talk about that later because I'm pretty sure it's on my list.
Yeah.
But anyway.
What you got?
No, those are my top ones that I really, really enjoy that I can identify by name.
All right, well then I've got still quite a few here. Like, I brought up Laura Bailey for a brief moment, and I absolutely adore her. I think she's semi-retired at this point. I don't think she does a whole lot of anime voice work now. I think she's mainly a video game voice actress at this point. And she is on Critical Role, if you ever watched that. I think I told you about that. That's the D&D series on YouTube. And they've got the Legends of Vox Machina, along with several other very famous voice actors on there. And she's got incredible range, like being the voice of the main female lead from Fruits Basket, as well as Maka in Soul Eater. But then she's also the voice of Lust in Full Metal Alchemist. So imagine that for a brief second. That incredible range, and she's so good.
I do like the voices for them.
She's so good, and I don't know how the hell she does it. It's obvious that one thing she definitely does for herself is that she wants to go more kid-like. She goes a little more raspy with it, but then when she wants to go more adult, then she just goes smooth. And it's beautiful, and it makes me very happy.
I do like Soul Eater.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Can go away.
Not can disappear and not exist. But also on my list, I absolutely love her to pieces, Cherami Lee. I'm not sure if that's the correct pronunciation of her name. I think it is. I don't know. It's been debated. But I enjoy and adore her voice work. Lucy from Fairy Tail is one to immediately think of with her. And
I like Lucy. The voice didn't bother me.
She's kind of one where she's another one of those, you recognize the voice immediately. She doesn't necessarily change up her range too much. Mm-hmm. But she's got an iconic, highly recognizable voice, so there's not really a need to change anything up when you've got something so iconic and highly recognizable. I'm a big fan of Patrick Seitz while we're just on those. Like, the thing I love about Patrick Seitz...
What's he in?
Oh, gosh, what isn't he in? He's in everything.
I'm trying to think of something.
I am too, and my brain is just drawing a blank. But what I love about him is that it doesn't matter how small the role is. He brings energy to everything. Like, okay, I'll give you an example. Did you watch the dub version of Nanbaka?
Yes.
Okay, the guardsman. The bald guardsman.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's him. So that's a good example right there. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. But that's him. He's been in countless video games. He's in countless anime. He seems to just really enjoy what he does and loves what he does.
Okay.
Yep, that's the one. You can tell he's just having so much fun the entire time. He loves what he's doing. He gets excited about what he's doing. And it doesn't matter how big or small the role is, how insignificant the role could be. It could be a single one-off episode thing, whatever. But it's just like he's just so happy to be there. Mm-hmm. And you hear it in his voice, and it's such a wonderful thing to hear. And he brings every ounce of energy. I mean, he could probably be sick as a dog one day, and he'll still bring every ounce of energy. It's something else to hear. It's beautiful, really.
It shows. I'm not saying that none of them but it shows like the
his
love
professionalism
that
and his love for the job. Yes.
So I think that's what kind of plays into it. But it's. I don't know. I like the voice. I like voice acting. It's just, it seems like a lot. It's a lot of hard work.
It is. We talked about this in the Dagashi episode, but I absolutely adore Tabitha Ray. She's not in a whole lot, unfortunately. I really think she deserves a lot more work than she gets. But she's got such a unique voice, and it's coupled with such an interesting accent. It's a hard to explain accent because I think it comes from somewhere up there in like the Oregon, Wisconsin region almost from the sound of it. I don't know where she's from. I could be full of crap on that one, but she just has this wonderful accent that pulls me in every time I hear her voice. And it took me a little bit when I first heard her in Fairy Tail, because that's where I first heard her. It took me a minute to like the character voice. And then I warmed up to it. And then she voiced Hotaru in Dagashi Kashi. And then I fell absolutely in love. She brings great joy. Mm-hmm. Because she brings joy to the voices that she puts in. Even if it's just the one voice, every character she does get to voice, she brings so much joy to that character. And it's really beautiful to listen to. And I think she's got that kind of voice where it naturally zhuzhes up what was already there and gives it something more, just purely because that's what her voice naturally does. So it's so fun to listen to. I've got Grey Delilah on here.
What'd you do?
Let's see, Vicky from Fairly Odd Parents. Icky Vicky. Sam from Danny Phantom. Azula in
perfect.
Yeah. Azula in Avatar: The Last Airbender. My brain. One of them.
Don't dare say Legend of Korra.
I liked Legend of Korra. It wasn't bad. It wasn't phenomenal. It was sure a downgrade from the first series, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible.
Let's go back.
I've got Frank Welker on here, who's literally most famous for the voice of Fred in Scooby-Doo since its inception, but he's also the current voice actor for Scooby-Doo as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then he's got just incredible talent when it comes to sound effects and animal voices and stuff like that. He can do some incredible like dog barks and cats and elephants and all kinds of stuff. Like, he's the sound effects man too. It's really incredible. And he's got range in that. It's so cool. That's a skill and a talent I wish I had.
To do sound effects, yeah.
Yes. And then I've got Kent Williams, who he's right there alongside J. Michael Tatum for that smooth, deep, like, holy fuck kind of voice. Like, he's ideal for basically any very pulled together character. I believe, if I remember correctly, he voiced the Dr. Soma, the Soma doctor in Fruits Basket. I think that was him.
The doctor?
The doctor. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure that was him. If it wasn't, that might
Fruits Basket.
I love Fruits Basket. I absolutely adore Fruits Basket. But Kent Williams, I adore his voice work. It's so good. It's so rich. It's so beautiful. So good. It's got such incredible range, and I just love it. I love listening to it. And he's another one of those ones that he just sticks to his one voice, but that's all he needs to do. He doesn't need to change it up because there's no reason to change up that incredible depth.
Well, as I'm saying, like, there's some actors that is just how they talk, and that's all.
When you got that voice,
that's all that's needed. It's all that's kind of needed is just how they talk, and that's perfectly fine. And then whether they lower it or pitch it up, whatever, you can still recognize who that person is because they didn't do nothing different. This is just my voice. This is just how I talk.
Yep. And it's so fun, and it's a gift. He's got the ability to do a lot of good villain characters because of that voice, but he's also got the ability to do a lot of good, like, servant type characters like butlers and stuff like that, or fancy sort of characters that are like upper crust type of characters.
The kind that get on your nerves?
No. Why would Kent Williams ever get on your nerves?
Are you being biased?
No. No, I'm not. Kent Williams just brings beautiful voice work, so there's never a time when that would ever get annoying.
I'm talking about the character, not necessarily the voice, just the character.
Even if the character was annoying, Kent Williams makes it better.
You're being biased.
I am not. I'm being fair and honest with my assessments. Okay. Mark Hamill.
Who did he do?
The Joker.
Oh, yeah.
Literally the Joker. Like, he is
There's been
Joker.
A lot of the Jokers. Like the original Joker?
The Joker from the 1992 animated series,
okay.
And then on, and every once in a while someone else comes in, and they do fine, but he's the one who invented the laugh.
Okay, because I was like, which one do we talk? Because they switched,
Yes.
they changed the voice.
He's the one who invented the laugh that gave children of the era nightmares, and it absolutely has become the iconic part of his character that I would honestly be convinced to say that they practically modeled any of his laughter in like the comics off of him. It's so good. And if you're going to voice the Joker at this point, you have to be able to do that laugh.
Yeah, because it's lacking if you don't.
Yes, if you can't do it, you're not the Joker. Like, you're not good enough.
The laugh is Joker.
Yes.
To be honest, like
the
that
maniacal.
And
insanity is the
and because you know the in Batman they do those like very dramatic scenes.
Mm-hmm.
He is that. He is that scene that's stressed out, like dramatic. He is. That's him. That laugh is him.
Yep.
So like you feel the terror.
You do.
when you
do. And then I've got two people on here that are on here for the exact same reason. It is Mindy Kahn and B.J. Ward, and they're both on here for Velma. Like they were the voice of Velma. They neither of them voice Velma anymore. It's someone else. I don't remember her name right now. But B.J. Ward voiced Velma for the Renaissance movies, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, Alien Invaders, The Witch's Ghost, and Cyber Chase.
Which are my favorite movies.
They're everybody's favorite movies because they perfectly balanced scary with a bit of comedy, a good sense of humor, beautiful art style, wonderful animation style. It's so pretty. And it just modernized the Scooby-Doo franchise in a way that it hadn't been at that point. Because that was the first thing that popped up after the 1980-something Pup Named Scooby-Doo series, I think. They didn't have anything between then, when that had ended, and when these movies popped around. So this was their big reintroduction of the Scooby-Doo franchise, as well as a let's bring it into a more mature, actually scary thing. And Zombie Island was genuinely scary.
Yeah, because it was real.
It was real.
There was no man behind the mask, and that was the realization that everyone, when you watched it, came to, like, the characters themselves came to realize, like, oh my god, this is actually real. And that's as the viewers who were used to, pull the mask off, it's the person behind it.
Yep.
And we were just like, no, this is actually real. Like, these are real.
Everything was right about those movies, and they haven't done anything quite as good since then. Although, What's New Scooby-Doo was a good follow-up that found a good balance. Went a little more towards the comedy and a little more away from the scary. I wish they'd go back more towards the scary, honestly. It would be so good to see them do. The closest they ever got to that here recently was Mystery Incorporated, which had the overarching story.
The Mystery Incorporated was leaning more towards the scary mystery.
Yeah. It could have gone scarier, in my opinion, but I see why they didn't do that. That's beside the point. B.J. Ward was so good. She has, about her voice, a mature raspiness to it that you wouldn't think would work for a character who's supposed to be teenager, technically.
High school
Teenager, something like 17, 18, something like that. But it worked so well for Velma because of the character. And I think it was pretty well established, actually, in these movies when she was voicing the character. These characters had grown up. They were no longer high school. They were definitely in their 20s. She owned a bookstore in those movies.
I think they were mostly, at that point during the movies, they were adults. Like
they were fully adults.
Yeah, like they had jobs and careers and stuff.
Yep. So they were already past college age at that point. They had to be at least mid-20s, if not almost 30 in those movies.
Because wasn't Daphne like a news reporter
she was
or something?
A news reporter.
So yeah, they were adult. They
Fred
had
was
jobs.
a cameraman.
Yeah, they were adults by then.
Yep,
so.
and Velma owned her own bookstore, and then Shaggy and Scooby were the only ones that were kind of job hopping around. Like they were security at an airport, but they didn't do a great job on that. Got fired at some point.
They were the epitome of hippies.
Yeah, but it just beautiful voice work. And then Mindy Kahn took over from B.J. Ward, and it was one of those most beautiful transitions. Like Mindy Kahn brought what B.J. Ward had already established and then made it her own, so that it was just slightly different from what was there. So you can tell there's a difference between the two of them. But whoever casted Mindy Kahn, you could tell they were obviously very much a fan of B.J. Ward's voice work, because they found someone who sounded similar enough and could bring the same level of nuances that B.J. Ward had brought, but brought fresh energy.
It wasn't trying to
copy
what she was trying to do.
It just emulated and then elevated.
Yeah. That's a good way of,
And unfortunately, I'm not a fan of her most recent voice actress. She's fine, but it's too high-pitched for my liking.
Didn't they take him back to school?
Probably.
I don't know. I haven't watched any of it. The last thing that I saw, they had big heads and, like, chibi-looking bodies. So it looked like they took him back to high school. So that could be a reason why the voice is like that. But also, when they changed their nationality... I don't know. I have to look
That
it up.
one
Don't-
was only for the Velma series, and that is a mess that I don't even want to go
Yeah,
into
so,
because that was a Mindy Collins mess.
But was there any other ones, or did you ready to wrap this up?
I think we can just wrap this one up. I've got a far longer list than this video would ever be able to actually cover. We would be here for days, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, you didn't even. Did you mention Cree?
Did I mention Cree? I should have mentioned Cree. I love Cree Summers.
Yeah, I don't think you
I
mentioned
absolutely
Cree.
adore Cree Summers. She is one of those. Oh, I thought I said her, but I guess I skipped over. She is one of those truly incredible voice actors who has one voice, but that one voice is so iconic. And I mean, she can change her voice up. She can go smooth. She can go even more raspy. She can go louder. She can go quieter. She has range. It comes from being a singer. She has wonderful range. But her voice is so readily iconic that it doesn't matter what she does to it.
That's the attitude in the voice. So you can just.
Oh,
It
so
doesn't
much
matter which
attitude.
range she is. It's the attitude in the voice that you can immediately pick up who
Yep,
it is.
yep. And that sound like, I mean, it's pure rasp. You can't not hear it.
I love her voice. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so good. And she's in everything. She's been in everything since the 1980s. So, and she is just one of those very rare people, a black person who has made her career in voice acting, which it's already hard enough to make a career in voice acting. To be black and make a career in voice acting, that's even harder. And to be a woman on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
And to have gotten her start in the 80s.
Everything was against you, basically.
Everything was against her, and she not only rose to the occasion, she just excelled and just made an absolutely incredible
Because I mean,
life for herself out of it.
the main character, like number 5, is my favorite.
I love Susie Carmichael. It's
Well, I can
a
like
good
Susie
character.
too, but like number 5 is just that voice, just that
Yeah.
that swag that she like. I just
Yeah.
loved number 5.
True. Although she
But she kind of
she also
portrays
played
it-
she also played number 5's big sister too,
Yeah, but
who was named after her, to my knowledge.
really? Oh,
Well, the character was named Cree.
yeah, that
and spelled
is
the exact
true.
same way.
That's cool. That's cool if they did do that.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably did. They're like, well, we got her, so we're gonna name this character after her.
That was crazy. 'Cause I was like, isn't the sister named Cree? Yeah.
Yep. And then she was Valerie in Danny Phantom.
Which is the friend to the other girl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, if you can think of a black character, she voiced it.
Pretty much.
Oh, Elmira Duff in Animaniacs. The crazy little redheaded girl.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna hug you and squeeze you and yada yada yada.
Yeah, the
whatever.
psychotic one.
The psychotic one.
I mean, there's a lot. It's Animaniacs. They're all not sane, but I'm just saying.
Honestly, every single voice actor in Animaniacs is incredible.
Mhm.
Trust McNeil. God, I love her. I adore Tress McNeil so much, and I actually said the word correctly this time. Look at me go.
I know.
I love Tress McNeil so much. Her voice is so incredible. Her range is outstanding.
What'd you do?
Dot in the Animaniacs.
Okay.
Countless characters in The Simpsons.
Alright.
The ghost in Scooby-Doo and Witch's Ghost.
Okay.
Sarah Ravencroft, whatever her name was. The grandmother in Hey Arnold. Arnold's
She was a grandma?
Yeah, she was Arnold's grandmother. And then that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like, she has done so many things, big and small roles. She and Cree are both the kind of voice actors who have the great fortune to have a laundry list of characters, sometimes within a single series, and basically be the voice of all of them. And you're just like, I'm okay with this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with this.
Anyway, we could, like I
Yeah.
said, we could keep going on.
But this video's long enough.
But it's getting long, and there's a part
And
that
I have to edit it.
yeah, and there's a part you're not gonna see because we're gonna have to cut it out, and it'll probably be its own little tiny little rant somewhere else.
Oh, that one? You want me to cut that out?
You can cut it out and just make it its own separate thing. That way, it cuts it down.
Sure, I can do that.
Yeah, because we tangent galore.
It was a lot.
Yeah, I had some stuff to get off my chest. But anywho, if you want to see that, then click on the next video. So until then, we'll see you next time. Later.
Bye.